Welcome to Conversations with Toy, a blogcast tackling life one episode at a time. This is the time to air out life's craziest moments. This space is all about speaking about life's hang-ups and ways in which we can leave better than when we started. Topics are all about ways we can find space to be better in life, love, mental space, and health.
Happy Friday! I hope that you have had the most amazing week. We have made it to Friday, and although I am a firm believer of not waiting just until Friday, it is still here nonetheless. If this is your first time tuning into Conversations with Toy, welcome. I welcome you into this space where, again, we will talk about things like mental health and wellness, self-care, what's happening on these internet streets, and just about any and everything in between. I am your podcaster named Toy, and I am also a content creator, blogger, digital thing. I do all the things. I wear a lot of hats, including a wife and mother of 3. So yes, I have my hands in a lot of different things. And for that and that alone, I am super excited to be with you on this another amazing Friday. Today is also National Care for Kids Day, National Concussion Awareness Day. That is extremely important. It's also National Fried Rice Day, National Punch Day, National Queso, and National String Cheese Day. There's a lot of things happening on this amazing Friday. And we are almost done with September. I'm not saying September is going to end like next week, but we're getting pretty close. And this upcoming Sunday is the first day of fall. I am super excited. It's one of my other favorite not holiday, but season. Summer and fall, they're kind of like neck to neck as far as which one is my absolute favorite. But I do want to caution, because fall is approaching, many people will begin to go into their seasonal depression. It is not only just exclusive to the winter. You can actually get seasonal depression all year round. It's not exclusive. But what will happen is, because we get to have less sun, it gets darker a little quicker. There's a lot of different things that will take place. A lot of people, including myself, notice their moods are going to shift. The moods will begin to change. And if you've ever been through something like that, you know that it can be a little debilitating depending on how far it can go. For me, I am doing all the things to be aware of it, making sure that I stay on top of my mental health medication, making sure that I take care of myself and, be as active as possible, make sure I hang out with some of my friends, do all the things like, opening up the blinds in your home just to allow natural light to come through. Even on a rainy day, even on a sunny day, a snowy day, you should attempt to do that. It will trick your body to thinking that it is a sunny day, that you do have all this light. I also have a light. What is the word for it? It's like a light therapy lamp, and you plug it into your computer. It works magic. Again, the goal is to create the body to make it seem as if you're around a lot of extended light, and in being around that extended light can lessen your chances of having a deeper mood or depressive mood. And I enjoy that, to again using the tools that I know will work for me. Also, I encourage you to get a different journal for different seasons, and this is the reason why. You can get a journal for little or nothing. Go to the dollar store. You can go to Five Below. I wouldn't necessarily go to Target unless you're about that life. I am a journal girly. I have journals all over the place, all over the world. And it's just crazy, but I just love journal. But I do encourage you to get a journal that you can use during different seasons. You will begin to notice, if you write over a year's time, you'll be able to recognize some of your triggers. And as you come upon the triggers, it can kind of help you to prepare for them. Like, I know that for the holidays, I love Christmas. It's one of my favorite holidays. And it's not because of the gift giving, gift receiving part of it, but I like to create the memories with like my family and my kids, especially my children. Like, I love creating memories with them. I love going and doing all the things that see them smile and make them happy and all those different things. But in the same token, with being excited about Christmas, when Christmas is over and you're stepping into a new year, like, your mind can legitimately play a lot of tricks on you. So please absolutely prepare for all of the things. Now, let's talk about what's happening on these streets, because, we have been talking about this story for quite some time when it first started to come out. Before the video of Cassie came out, when we started to hear the rumblings and we saw the lawsuit and we saw how quick he wrote that check, we knew at that point it was going to go downhill. But a lot of us, and I don't know if it was us, I'm just saying us to be nice, but a lot of people assumed that because it was just more of a civil case, that it would just be a check wrote and it would be a, over and done thing. But it wasn't. And I was kind of like waiting to see, like, was there enough to charge a criminal act? And this week, it has been a lot of major developments. One, P Diddy, Love, Diddy, Diddler, whatever name you're going to call him, Sean Combs, has been arrested this week. In addition to him being arrested of this week, he had went and tried to post bail and was denied not once, but denied twice. Now, for those who are not avid readers, like, I read the complaint. I read all the pages because I wanted to get a full idea of what was happening. But if you are not a huge reader, one podcast that I would suggest, I even sent this podcast to my mother, is Demetria L. Lucas, and that is called Ratchet and Respectful. Now, I listen to her very avidly. Like, I don't miss an episode when it drops. I'm on it. I just love her. I don't know if it's because I just like her style of, one, how she does her podcast, but the other part of it is that she's an avid writer, and from one writer to another, I just love the way that she does the things that she does. So I don't know, I'm not necessarily a super fan under any circumstances, but I do like her vibes. And so because she has a podcast, she literally took that same indictment, read it, not necessarily word for word, but basically broke it down. So if you would like a good detailed breakdown, I'm suggesting that you go to her. She has done a beautiful job breaking it down. I, on the other hand, have taken the disposition of reading it because I'm a reader, because most writers are good readers and good readers are good writers. So reading it was hard to swallow because there's a lot of parts and moving parts in this that a lot of people, you could tell they have not read it. I have sat there and watched so many people go on social media saying things that make no absolute sense. And here is the thing. My dad always said, if you do your research and so that you're out here looking dumb, looking like a fool. And I need some of y'all to take that advice. Like, that advice he's going to be your dad today. My dad is going to be your dad today. And I want you to go ahead and take that advice and go ahead and read it. Because some of y'all are out here posting things on your social media and making videos on your social media without the full context. There was somebody who wrote something and then decided it was like, oh yeah, I didn't know he had gotten RICO charges. And I'm like, what is happening here? Before you make a public statement, before you make a public video or a public podcast or a public anything, please either read the deposition, read the entire indictment, I should say, not deposition, indictment. Please read the entire thing. After you read it, then you should be a little bit more knowledgeable of what you're saying. Okay? Please understand. P Diddy is in a lot of trouble. Okay, that indictment is very stern, very clear, and to the point. And let me just repeat what somebody should have repeated to you, because a lot of people say things again without knowledge. Usually when you have state charges, you can be charged, and the state does its due justice to build a case. When feds are involved, they have already built a case. They then go and arrest you. By the time the feds have gotten involved, they already have their ducks in a row. They've already done their due diligence. And I feel like that is what's happening with P Diddy, Sean Combs, Love, with all the 20,000 names. And they did not miss one. They had all of his aliases and names in it. Because again, when they do their due work, when they do their due work, they know what they're doing. They're going to be on it. They're going to make sure that they have an airtight case. Now, I'm not saying that he can't beat it. I'm just saying there's a good chance. Everybody should be proven, until they can be proven guilty that he is an innocent man. But them charges is definitely charging, and it's going to be extremely hard for him to wiggle himself out. I don't know if he'll take a plea deal. I don't know what he will do, but what I am telling you is that indictment is very strong. And here's the kicker. They did put everything in there. So they still have witnesses that they are going through. Because again, like they have said 1,001 times, it is an ongoing situation. Now, will they go after other people? It looks like that's what they will do. They are going to go after other people. Okay. And with that being said, all I'm saying is that we need to watch closely. And if you can get to a source and read it, I want you to just go ahead and read. Like, even if you didn't read in school and you was just like, that's so dumb, I don't want to do it. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and read, especially if you're going to make any post about it, because I'm tired of watching y'all be loud and wrong. Okay. I'm tired of y'all being loud and wrong. And for those who are saying, oh my God, he didn't do this and all that stuff, I'm not about to put my good name out for somebody and say he didn't do something when there's too much evidence saying you might want to consider that. You might want to think about that. I'm not willing to do it. And I'm thinking maybe you shouldn't, because he's not paying none of our bills. We're not getting a check from this. So we should probably consider. Again, what we could be doing right now is praying for those victims who have been victimized, many of them for years. The force in which he was been able to move and the ways in which he has been able to be moved is very alarming and telling. And I'm not sure if he's going to take a plea deal to avoid some of those things coming out. Who even knows? But the things that are out right now, everybody's in the ups and arms because of the 1,000 bottles of lube and oil and baby oil and things like that. That's major too. And the things that they found, there's lots of things, and I'm not going to say, you just want to go and read it. There's a lot of things that they have brought, but the fact that they have him on video, the fact that they have him on so many different recordings, they have his home surveillance tapes, they have the phones, they have computers, they have jump drives, they have all the things. This isn't going to be one of those things where he can just be like, I'm going to pay my way out. And the fact that he couldn't even make his bail, he has a lot of money and access to a lot of money. The fact that he could not make his bail should be already telling you that this case isn't going to go as, it ain't going to go as uniquely as we thought it was going to go. It's just not. It is not going to go. So for those, again, who are thinking that this was going to be an open and shut case, it's not. It's going to be a long time coming. And if he has to sit in that jail till 2025, which is, it's given he's going to have to, it's just not, it's not going to be what you think. It's going to be a lot. With that being said, the only thing that we can do is just sit and wait. We have to wait to see what's going to happen, what's going to take place. We have to wait to see, what's going to happen. That's all I can say. I would say watch everything that's coming out, see all the things that's going down, be prepared for it. Just be prepared. It's going to be a rocky road. I thought, back in the day when I was in school, O.J. Simpson's case was huge. The Mendez brothers, those types of cases were huge, but this might be the one that tops the actual cake. So let's just be prepared, get our thinking caps on, watch all the things, listen to all the things, because it's going to be a very interesting ride of how all of this goes down. Now, I know that oftentimes I talk about the things that I've been reading. Obviously, I read the indictment, cool beans. I did read that, but another book that's coming out in October is called The Most Wonderful Time by Jane Allen. If you are an avid listener of the podcast, then you know that I have interviewed her about her series, Black Girl Must Have It All, Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, and Black Girls Must Be Magic. I do not have any doubt in my mind that this new book called The Most Wonderful Time is going to be absolutely everything that the other three books are. So I say all that to say, again, if you can, I would pre-order the book. It comes out on October 8th. I have pre-ordered the book so that I can have the hard copy and the Audible. Okay, so I have both. I'm a little extra. I'm a book reader. That's what I do. It's going into the collection. I'm looking over here at my bookshelf and I got a spot ready for it. I'm going to put it as the display book because I cannot wait. I haven't been excited about a book in a long time. And this one, I'm excited. Like, run me my book. Is it August 6th, August 8th? This is when it comes out. And I'm like, run me my book. So I have the Audible and I also have the hard book, the hard copy. I know some people like the paperback ones because they're a little cheaper, but I'm the hard book. I need the hard book. I just like a good sturdy book. So I'm excited for this book. If you can and you want to, go ahead and download that, pre-order, get you to pre-order together, whether you pre-order it from stores like Amazon, Target, and wherever books are sold. But again, also in Audible, go ahead and get it. I love listening to authors break their books down, even if it's not them. I think she usually has a reader that does it, but nonetheless, I am excited for this. So go ahead and get that. So of course, the reading has been the indictment. And again, it is not an easy read, but if you are a reader, it will be something that I would think you would want to know. And here's another thing. I want to know because I don't want nobody telling me something. I'm tired of some of these bloggers that are putting their spin on stuff, and you're sitting there like, that ain't what I read. I didn't read none of that in the book. Like, I think about those types of things quite often. So yeah, I'm more interested in, again, making sure that I get facts because I want to respond off of facts. Now, there's been so many celebrities that have decided that they're going to speak up and say things. I really don't know. Like, I really don't know why we would want to be in the corner. I really don't know. I really don't know. But, I guess if you have a friend, you're going to support your friend. I do understand that because I do support my friends. So I could get that. But yeah, it's a lot. You might want to reconsider, just make a consideration about how this is going to all go down. With that also being said, this week has been very interesting. Mentally, I've had a really good week this week. My therapy has been good. Like, I had been on this journey and the therapy was hard. Like the very first session with this particular therapist, I was concerned. He was concerned. I was concerned. We all had reason to be concerned. But there's been a strength, an eye-opening, an awakening that has happened that I am proud of. Now, I don't know where that's going to lead. I can almost promise you it's not going to lead in the best way that people might think it would be, or they would hope it to be, or even I would want it to be. I could definitely say that. Definitely say that. But what I will say that in addition to that, I think that it's necessary. Sometimes when you pray and you say, God, show me such and such and such. Am I doing the right thing? Am I with the right person? Am I doing the right things? Should I be leading my life in a different way? And sometimes you tell yourself like, yeah, you're doing good. You're fine. You're this and you're that. And you discover you might not be. You just might not be. And that's where I'm at right now. And it was uncomfortable in the beginning. Like somebody would have told me like, oh, you'll be fine. This isn't that. No. I legitimately thought that I was going to be okay, but I was not. But I'm getting comfortable in my uncomfortableness. I am getting comfortable in my uncomfortableness. I am enjoying this journey right now. I did not enjoy it. I kicked against it very early on, but I am enjoying it. And yeah, we'll just have to see how this goes. But I will encourage you. I really will encourage you to start your own journey, whatever that may be. I don't know what that would look like for you, what that will bring out for you. But whatever it is, like, I really need you to consider what does that look like for you to go to therapy, have your hardest thoughts, your hardest hurts, your hardest of pains, and ask yourself what that would look like. Okay. And what would it look like for you to be on the other side of healing? Like when you start to go through therapy, you start that journey, you start taking care of your mental health and wellness. It doesn't always look good, doesn't always feel good. But what would it look like when you get to the other side of healing? Like, it's not pretty because healing is not linear. So it's not like you just go up and you bust through the door, you're healed, you're good. Like sometimes you step back, sometimes you go back and forth, sometimes you revert. Like there's many different moments. But what would that look like to start seeing yourself in a healed space? I've been asking myself, what would that look like? Does that look like joy? Does that look like peace? What does that look like? Ask yourself what that would look like. And whatever that is, go for it. Like you are worthy for it. That's what we talked about last week's episode. You are worthy of all good things. So ask yourself what that would look like. But I do want to talk about a topic. But before we get into that, what's on today's To Be a Fly on the Wall segment? My fly on the wall moment of the week. Honestly, normally when you say I wish I was a fly on the wall, you would say something like, ooh, like a negative kind of tone. But honestly, my fly on the wall moment for the week would be about Diddy's young girls. Because as much as I do believe Diddy is deserving of the things that he has allegedly done, and if allegedly doing so, he has inflicted so much pain on other people, then yes, it wouldn't go account for against him to have things happen to him. But unfortunately, what that means is that it also entitles to your children. Like that goes down to your children. We're talking about a man who was a mogul, a man who was about the culture, and to have everything go down to him being locked up and having his entire legacy just be all that we will talk about is, yeah, bad boys, but then this. Yeah, the artist that he put on and then unfortunately didn't do right by, and then this. His daughters are my fly on the wall moment. Because if I was to think about how if my mother wasn't here and I'm a young girl and then I have my father who is supposed to then be my only parent that's alive, and to know that he's alive but he's in jail and there's a possibility that I may not see him again if he goes to jail and doesn't get out or gets life or whatever may happen, whatever may go down and happen to him, that has to be a hard pill to swallow. And they're young girls. They're 17 years old. I believe they're seniors, if I'm not mistaken, in high school. So they are being shaped, like the things that they have been dealt with just as young ladies that some people grown couldn't even handle. My fly on the wall moment is about them. Lord, what are they going through? They have people around them, but it's not the same, right? They already had to go through losing their mom and then having to adjust. And now they're adjusting to their father having his life being the waiting period of knowing what will happen to him. I can't imagine what that may feel like. Those girls didn't deserve that, but unfortunately, because of the decisions of the parent, he is not here. He's not out to make the decisions for them. Someone else has to make the decisions for them. And I know that he will make sure that they're financially together, because listen, Diddy ain't stupid. He gonna make sure his girls are good, because he has 3 of them. And let's talk about the other one. Chance just turned 18. The twins are 17. I think they're seniors this year, that I believe. And then you have the youngest daughter, Love. Then he has his sons. Everybody is being touched by this in their own way. And my thought is, Lord, I hope that they're okay. How do you deal with relationships and dating as you get older? Ask yourself, if you are in a dating space, like I'm no longer in a dating space, I'm married. I've been married for 12 years now. So it's been a minute. However, what is your thought process on dating and your mental health and your journey as you get older? And then ask yourself, what are some of the things that you seek and want? David Banner made a very huge splash this week. And now let me just preface this before we get into the story. I am a DB David Banner fan. I probably will never not be a fan. However, I can't necessarily act as if I didn't see the story, because as a fan, of course, I did. The story is that David Banner now being 50, and if you've never seen him before, please believe he don't look nothing like a 50-year-old. He looks very good for all the things. He looks good, period. Not good for, but good, period, okay? So this man has been obviously taking care of his body, all the things, and now he's 50. He's ready to settle down, and he's ready to have children, or at least have a child. That is his now desire. He wants to get married and he wants to have a child. Now, a lot of people have been making their comments about the fact that he's 50. He's waited until he's been through all these different types of women. He done did all these different things, and now he's ready to do and get married and settle down. Here's the thing. We all have choices. And so he has a choice, just like the rest of us, who, if I decided to get married early, which I got married at about 30 something years old, that if I'm deciding to do these things and he decided to do it at 50, we both have that choice. We can make it. And 100%, we all have choices. Him making his choice to wait to 50 is not a problem. A lot of people are talking about the fact that he's been through so many people, and then men usually are the ones who will wait until they're, they need a little home nurse, somebody to take care of them. Then they want to decide to then get married. Women are not necessarily like that. We have plenty of women who are not married and they're older and they're just haven't found the right person. That's not something that they desire, whatever the gamut of things. There's people who desire it, but they just haven't found the right one. Like there's 1,001 reasons as to why people are older and they just haven't gotten married. But women are more susceptible to actually desire marriage as a form of like, this is what I've accomplished. Like this is like their thing, right? And men gravitate towards building their career and doing all the things. So people are saying that the fact that David Banner joins the many of the men, especially in Hollywood, who wait until they're older, they want to get married and they want to then do all these things after the fact. I personally don't have a problem with it because, first of all, I'm not going to be married to David Banner. I'm already happily married, and at the end of the day, what he does doesn't affect me. Now, if I felt like I was a contender for David Banner, would it bother me? I don't know. Like if I was dating him or had been dating him for years and he had not married me, and then I hear he's ready to be married, and that was like news to me. Like I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about that, because again, I'm not in the marrying. I mean, I'm not in the dating world. Like I'm already married, so it's like it is what it is. So I don't really know what that feels like, but I do know that there are plenty of older men who then profess their love. They want to get married after the fact, after they're done. You know, like my mom would say, they've been running these streets. And people are not happy about that. They are talking about the fact that, again, like, why did this happen? This is crazy. It's just so many things going on. And they wait till they do all these different things. And then they decide that they want to, like, you know, settle down. They want to do all this running around these streets and putting their stuff in everybody. And they want to do all these different things. And that could really make or break a situation. Like if I was a woman and I had access to be with a David Banner, because a lot of people who are commenting, like myself, I don't have access to David Banner. The only time I've ever been in the same room with David Banner was when I was at the Jill Scott concert, I think maybe 2 years ago. It had to be 2 years ago. Him and I was in the same building. He was there with somebody and I was in the building. I was married in that building. Like it wasn't like I had access to him where him and I chopped it up and we had conversations, or I can send him an email or I can text him. Like many of us who are commenting don't have access to David Banner. So whomever is in his accessible place, like whoever he sees, whoever he does, whatever that boils down to, I think they would have more to weigh on that, because a lot of us don't. We don't have access to David Banner. Then even go further, you have Bishop Noel Jones, who dated his lady love for 28 years before he got married. Now, let me explain something to you right now. I don't know if David Banner had been dating somebody for long periods of time and now all of a sudden he's married. I've never really even known him to be connected to anybody. I mean, I'm sure he's had his people. I wouldn't doubt it. Like, have y'all seen David Banner? Like, seriously, that man is fine. So I know he's had access to beautiful women, and women who were solid, and women who were good women, and women who probably fit the bill, and he just wasn't ready. I'm sure of it. But Bishop Noel Jones was with his woman for 28 years, it said. Like, yeah, 28 years before they got married. Now, look at here. Look at here. I know that this topic of, you know, how long should you date somebody before you get married? Listen, there's plenty of people who probably will be together forever and decide not to get married. And for that, all I can tell you is that you better like make sure your documentation is strong, especially if you're looking to be a benefit of anything after that person has passed. That's one advice I will give you. You choose to be with somebody for a long period of time and you say you don't want to be married, which is your prerogative. Do you? God bless. But you better make sure your documentation stand, because if you don't have them ducks in a row and you don't have that paperwork in play, that money and all the houses, all the things that go along with that person will be for nothing, because you'll get nothing out of it because you are not married. Marriage does give you a little bit more of a flex where you can kind of do a couple things with the proper documentation. And if you are married, I still would suggest to you to know your laws of where you live and go ahead and just make sure everything is tied and tied with a bow, everything is sealed and delivered. That's what you should do. Well, Noel Jones was with his woman, his current wife, for 28 years before they got married. And he has had a gaggle of children. Now, I don't know if David Banner has kids. My understanding that he does not, because that's why he's saying he wants kids now. The fact that he was able to get to 50 years old, and I know from the songs that he was singing, he knew a little something about being with a woman. So the fact that he was with women and doing what he was doing, at least I could say he at least attempted or did what he needed to do to practice some type of safe sex, because nobody was able to lock him down and get married to him. Like, nobody had a child with him. He don't have illegitimate babies running around these streets that we are aware of as of this recording. And so the fact that he was able to go that long and not do what he needed to do or get somebody pregnant, don't have any baby mamas, is actually commendable, because a lot of people don't get to that age at 50. You just expect, a man to be living, and a man that lives would have a child. If he's 50 or 40 years old, that he would have a child somewhere. He doesn't have children that we're aware of. So the fact that he was able to go that far, that long, let's give him kudos to that. I can't speak on, and I don't know many of us who could speak on whether or not we feel that's a good thing. But what I can say is, if that's not something that you would want, don't get it. Because you may not be with somebody who may be older, like a David Banner, because again, 50 is still young. I mean, I don't know what y'all talking about, but he is still he's in my opinion, he's fine. Like, he's good to go. I don't care what he's doing, right? But if you're dealing with a man that you don't want to be with for long periods of time, and that man is stringing it along or telling you he doesn't want to get married, I mean, my mother always told me not to let a man tell you more than once that he doesn't want you. If that man says, I do not want to marry you, and you want to be married, then what is the purpose? Because then it's no longer him playing you. You're both playing each other or playing yourselves. Because for you to stay out with him and you heard him say, I don't want to be married or I don't want to marry you, what are we doing here? Because now the issue isn't him, now it becomes you. That woman who stayed with him and all the kids that he had, because he had other people, he was still doing things with other people, which lets me further know that you waited until you got to this older age to decide to be faithful. That man is 70 plus years old. Now we decide we're going to be married. Now we decide we're going to do right. Now, because you're at the age where, you know, at some point you're going to need a bed nurse. See, those are the types of situations I can't get with. I'm not about to just come in here and just be like, all right, now we're going to stay together. We're going to stick it out. We're going to do all these different things. That's crazy to me. All I know is that when you are talking about what you want and you're dating other people who don't want what you want, the mental health anguish that you put yourself through attempting to be everything that this person would want you to be in hopes that they will marry you, I promise you becomes a waste of time. Now, I know that it can be a situation where you have a soul tie, where you have basically, you've slept with this person, you've really gotten engulfed with them, you think that they are the best thing since sliced bread. And so from your perspective, you believe that this person just isn't ready. And, one day they're going to be ready. And when they're ready, you'll be there. Listen, I don't know who needs to hear this, but I just want you to know that that is not the way you want to live your life, to put your happiness in the hands of somebody else, because I've been there. Like, I've wanted to be with people, unfortunately, who didn't want to be with me. And the more I forced it, the more I kept saying, oh my gosh, they're going to change. They're going to change. They just never changed. They never changed. They never did. Now, they eventually did go on, a lot of them. Well, it's only two of them. Two of them did go on and they got married. And they did what they needed to do. But it wasn't with me. But I do know that there was a point in time where where you want that person to be with you. You see something and you see a future. I see a future with them. But when you really think about that, if you really step back, see, I can look back on it now and be like, now, come on now, Toy. Now, you know good and well that wasn't what you needed to be doing. Because when I think about it and I go back, there were so many red flags. Like, it was like somebody was, when they're outside and you're driving and they have the flagger there trying to stop you from going ahead and telling you to stop. It felt like those red flags was there. They were present, but I didn't pay no types of attention to them. And so that's what it felt like. That's exactly what it felt like, doing those things. And I'm just here to tell you that your mental health will always be on short leash when you're allowing your happiness to be tied to somebody else, when you're allowing for you to either be good or not be good, depending upon how somebody treats you. I promise you that's not the way to go, because the mental anguish alone will take you out. Same thing for when you get married. If you're in a marriage and that person doesn't want to be with you, doesn't want to treat you right, staying with them just because of the sake of, because this is something that we need to do, or this is just a great idea, or I'm trying to keep the family together, those types of things will wear on you, because the happiness that you could be and you could be dealing with, I promise you that's not it. I promise you that's not it. Because it's the worst thing to have happen if you live like that. So how are you able to put your personal happiness into play? Is what I'm learning more and more all the time, is that you can be selfish and be responsible, but you have to find ways to be selfish. And I know that's the first thing we're taught. Like, you're supposed to look out for other people, put other people first. All those things sound great. But when you're unhappy on the inside of you, your personal happiness is on display. You can't find happiness. You're like always struggling. You're always unhappy. You're always mean-spirited because you just are genuinely bitter. You got all these different things built up on the inside of you. You feel like you're living in a world that doesn't want you to be here. And trust me, you're supposed to be here, but you're supposed to also be here happy. But the thing is that we take our happiness and we toss it to somebody else. And then when they don't play with us right, when they play in our faces, we get mad at them. But the real person isn't them, it's us. And sometimes you get in this cycle where you'll be around them, because again, we do this. I hope, I pray, I see that. Look at them. They saw me. They waved at me today. Look, I'm good. When reality is sometimes we're not. They're not good. I'm not good. They're not good. Like, it's just a whole mess. And I think that sometimes we have to remind ourselves that our happiness is a personal job. Like one of the first things I had to learn, especially when I was coming out of my postpartum, because at the time I didn't have the right support. Like I'm gonna be 100. Like I've talked about this on previous episodes. This is not a secret that even though my husband was present, he was not, and I repeat, he was not a part of my healing journey. He just was not. Okay. And I gave him the key to my personal happiness while I couldn't express what was going on. And he wasn't in a position to receive. So I went through that period extremely lonely, extremely feeling unloved. Now there's some facts and there's some fiction with it. Like there's some things that was true and some things that was not true. And part of it was some of the things that were happening was 100% true. And I was telling myself that it wasn't the case when it was. That's one part. Then the other part of it was that there were things that I could have done better. There were things I could have done. It could have been said, things that could have been said to me that just wasn't. They were not okay. We were not okay. Things were not okay. But when I was trying to put my personal happiness, if I'm going to be okay, if I'm going to make it today, if it's going to be a better day, I was putting it all into his hands. And for why? I'm going to tell you the time that I've ever been my happiest in any given time in my life is when I was happy because I was just in my own skin, when I accepted me for me, when I looked at myself and didn't see myself as a problem, when I began to look myself in the mirror, seeing everything that I could see and say, girl, you was beautiful. When I had those moments and when I have those moments, that is when I'm at my most happiest. When I'm doing the things that make me happy, the things that make me smile, also being a good parent, also doing the things that I need to do, also running my business, and they come with highs and lows, child. They come with highs and lows too. But genuine happiness is when I took it out of the hands of other people and placed it in my hand and let God be my personal lead. Now, for me, it's God, and for you, it could be whatever it's going to be. But for me, that's what made me happy. And anytime that I discovered it, I've just put my happiness into somebody else's hand. I'd snatch that thing back. Because it ain't yours to have. Like, why am I giving you something that was never meant for you to have? It's not meant for you. You're not a clown. You're not supposed to make me happy. You're not supposed to be like, let me make her entertain her. I don't need to be entertained. I need to be happy. I don't need to be entertained. I need to be sound of mind. I don't need to be entertained. I need to make sure that I'm good. And part of that is doing the journey and doing the work to figure that out for me and at my own personal cost. Like, I'm worth all the things like I talked about last week, but I'm also worth my own personal joy, my own personal happiness. What's your happiness going to cost you? Because sometimes it could cost you leaving people that you know you ain't had no business being around anyway. And here's the thing: there's people that you should have had around, but they've changed, and now you've got to change. But you're unwilling to change because you've been so comfortable that you're not willing to make that change. So you are basically not happy, hoping that things will change. I'm just here to tell you. Just like the men that I dated in the past that, again, I knew wasn't good, that they weren't a good fit for me. Like, they may have been good men, but they just weren't a good fit for me. Because not everybody has to be raggedy and out of pocket, and they was just so raggedy and this and that. They just weren't good fit for me. The longer I dangled the keys and gave them the happiness, they took it and ran with it, took it and stepped over it, took it and did all the things. Because it wasn't because it was just, they were just so awful. I was awfully handling it to them. Like, you cannot put your happiness in the hand of somebody else, because we cannot expect for them to treat us in a way we're not even treating ourselves with dignity. And you are not treating yourself with dignity, and you allow other people to dictate how you move. We were talking about this a couple episodes, but this whole displaced homemaker where the wife is a stay-at-home mom, she has no job, she has no formal education, she's just having babies and taking care of them. Listen, having a child and having to raise a child and raise kids is a full-time job. But sometimes, most of the time, those jobs don't come with money. Most of the time, a lot of times, husbands aren't giving you like, here's your stipend for the week or bi-weekly or once a month and here's your money. Like, they're not doing that. A lot of them are not doing that. Okay. And so when you put yourself in situations where your happiness is dependent upon whether or not that person goes to work every day, whether or not that person takes care of the bills, this is why we have to be cognizant of certain things. And that may mean to make some different moves. It may mean to move differently. So that may mean that, okay, I'm raising my kids in my house. I'm going to take care of my family, but I also may need to also, let's be a little smart. Let me go ahead and find a little something I can do on the line. Let me go ahead and take some classes at night so I can build up some skills, because you never know when you may need it. I'm only saying that because so many women find themselves in the middle of navigating a divorce and they don't have no job to support it. And divorce can be a hard time to put your hand in the hand of somebody else that no longer sees you in the same grace that they saw you on their wedding day. This is why people get postnups and prenups. Because although divorce is hard, it's a lot harder when you're trying to split finances that you didn't put nothing in, and your husband reminds you that you didn't put no physical money in, even though you put more than enough equity. They don't care about that equity at the end of the day. They don't care about that blood, sweat, and tears. They don't care nothing about you changing them babies' diapers while they was at work and doing their thing. They care not. So what I will encourage all women to do is go get you a piece of job. Go take some night classes while them babies asleep. Go ahead and find you something you can do on the internet. If you sell a product, go ahead and get that thing up and running, because you can practically do that that's on the internet. Get your right licenses, do all those things. Don't be out here selling lip gloss and you don't know how to put no chemicals together. Now, I ain't telling you that. Go learn something. Go put some business behind you. Go get it and do it right. Get your licenses and stuff in order and put it right, and get you some coins and put that money to the side. Because I'm telling you, you will fall out of grace with somebody and they will care not. You'll have to have the man, like they say, put the man between us. You're going to put the man between us. You might have to put the man between you. And even when you do, there's some people that will be like, I ain't paying her. I don't care what that judge say. And they'd rather go in contempt of court to give you $1 of their quote unquote, it's my money. Remember when it was your money? Remember when he was still wooing you and he was like, baby, you work for these, help me raise these babies. I'll let you be a stay-at-home mom. I'm going to go ahead and work. I don't want you to do nothing. Remember how cute it was when he said that? It was real cute until it came time to pay, when things went left. It's real cute when you needed basic needs and he wouldn't let you have it because he has to give it to you. He won't allow you just to have access to it. You better figure this out. Because your mental health of having to navigate spaces that you're not used to being in because you took a chance on somebody, because you took more of a chance on somebody else that wasn't willing to take on yourself. Stop giving chances to everybody else that you can't give yourself. If you're giving more grace to somebody else but not yourself, you're doing it wrong. If you're giving so much chances to somebody else but not giving yourself enough grace to fall down and get back up and recover, you're doing life wrong. And there's nothing wrong with me doing it wrong, but I need you to get up, shake yourself. I need you to get up, change yourself. I need you to get up and make some things happen for you, because you are worthy of that. But your mental health matters. Diddy has been on the charts this week. David Banner, should we be waiting until we're 60, 70, 50, years old and then settle down and get married? I'm going to say, if I was in the same predicament, I wouldn't be the wife of Noah Jones, because I wouldn't be waiting no 28 years. That's just me. I know me. I just know me. I don't care if I'm good at this. Like, now that I'm married, I feel like, if I ever got a divorce, not that I'm asking for that, but if I ever got a divorce, like, I'm not saying that I wouldn't get married, but I'm also saying that I wouldn't be with somebody and then be like, oh, I'm going to be with them until forever. Then they wait till they're 70 and they want to marry me. Like, no. If I'm 70 and I'm not with somebody and you ain't with somebody and it's a meant to be, I guess, because there's plenty of older people that find love. Your age doesn't stop just because, your love doesn't have to be on hold just because you're 60, 70 years old. First of all, that's not even old. So yes, there are older people who get married, but I'm talking about being with someone for 28 years and then jumping up talking about we're going to get married now. I guess I'm done out here being raggedy. I guess I'm done out here having 11 children. I guess I'm done being, getting caught up being with this person and that person. That's the part that I'm talking about. Because that is hard, to watch the person you love lay up with somebody else, make a child with somebody else while you sit there watching, holding the bag, talking about, don't worry, baby, I'm going to help you raise them. Because why? And here's the thing. I've been on TikTok. I love being on TikTok. But one of the stories that I was listening to on TikTok, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in that app. It's a really good app. Like, it's a good app for a lot of reasons, right? And on that app, I saw somebody do a series, and they said, this is a series called A Man Wouldn't Do That. This particular woman was talking about how, women are, they have these series about these women getting these men and they're in jail and they go try to clean them up and they gonna love them, love them through their mess. They gonna love them through all the tests. They gonna do all these different things. And the series is called Men Wouldn't Do That. And the series of men wouldn't do that. A man normally would not allow you to be in jail, do all the things, and not ever be with somebody else and just hold you down and be with you. Papoose was one of those ones that, from what we know, was one of the rarities. And look what's happening to him now with Remy Ma, allegedly. Let me say allegedly, because I am not going to be like Tasha K. Y'all not coming for me. Okay. But what I will say is that you got to ask yourself, are you willing to put your life on hold for someone else? And what is the benefit of that? I can't see the benefits of staying with somebody for 28 years and then deciding to get married like all of a sudden in my 70s. Like I be with that person for 28 years. That's just not to it. You wouldn't. I don't even think. I know there's a lot of things you shouldn't say you would never do, but I'm just saying that ain't my desire. That's not my desire to do none of that. So this week, take your happiness into your hands, and even if you gave it to your partner. Even if you gave it to the point where, again, you like, well, I can't go and he can't go. You know, the Velcro couples put you in a very unhealthy situation, in my personal opinions. I think the Velcro couple is a very dangerous couple because that's the couple that can't be seen, can't go nowhere unless that other person is there. Now, listen, I enjoy my husband's presence, right? I enjoy him being around. I'm easily able to go in these streets and have a good time without being disrespectful to him or to myself, without him being present. Okay. But the Velcro couples are the dangerous couples because when that other person loses, when you fall out of grace out of that person's eye, let me tell you some things that can make you fall out of grace. When that person sees you as a project, when that person sees you as being so needy that they know they can walk all over you and then they do, and then they keep getting away with it, you lose ground with them. They don't see you and respect you the same way that they used to think. That stuff that you used to do, they don't find that cute no more. That they can't even go out the door because you're going to track them, you're going to find them, you're going to do all those things. They don't find that cute no more. What they do, they find a woman that's ambitious. They find a woman that's doing stuff. They want to. That's what they focus on. So I'm just telling you, your happiness belongs to you. It doesn't belong to not even your husband or your wife. Because there's times when husbands be going through their crap and wives be going through that stuff, and they sit there and they pull these stunts. And you sitting up there talking about he don't love me like he used to. He might not, but is you going to stop living because he don't? I ain't telling you that it ain't gonna be no walk in the park. But I'm telling you that if you want to find yourself in a horrible predicament, put your joy in somebody else's hands. You ever heard the song, put your hands in the hands of the man who part the waters? That's talking about putting your hands in God's hand because he won't fail you. But we talking about putting your hands in the hands of somebody else and watch how your life dwindles down. Because everybody got their own crosses to bear. Even if you want to one accord with your person, you want to accord with your good friend, you know, the one you're going to be with for 28 years and you're going to decide to get married at 70. Like even that, you putting your happiness in the hands of somebody else will fail you every single time because people don't treat you the way you want to be treated. And some of y'all don't realize by putting your joy in the hands of somebody else already opens up the floodgate for them to move how they want to move where you're concerned. And they will do it. And when they do it, you'll be like, I thought they loved me. They told me. You got to watch people's actions. Their actions talk way louder than their words. Way louder. So if you hear nothing else, ask yourself, are you doing the work to make you secure and happy? Are you doing it? That means that whatever somebody else is doing will become a bonus. But what are you doing for your personal joy? Are you putting your joy in your hands? Whose hands has your joy? Who has your joy? Who stole your joy? Who stole your joy? Is it because somebody passed away and they stole your joy? When they went into the ground, you let everything that was about them went with them? Because that's a real thing too. And there is a process that will take you from that to pull yourself out of that, right? Because that can happen to many people. But after a while, healing doesn't stop. You will always miss them. But if they're in the ground and everything about who made you was in the ground with them, I need you to get it back. Now, you may not be able to go through the grave and dig it out because I'm not telling you to do that. And I ain't got no bail money to pay for you because you will go to jail. You will go to jail. But mentally and emotionally, grab it. Grab your joy. Take your joy back. Take it back. Snatch it back. Because life is short. Grab it. I am of the grab and listen. If you would have asked me a couple months ago, I'd have been like, no, because I just want to make this happen. I want to make this work. I want to be this and I'm going to be the greatest that. I'm going to do the best I can. And then one day I woke up and said, to hell with all that. I got to find a way to make myself happy. What can I do to make me happy? What will it take? What am I willing to do? Legally, the right way, in the right spirit. But what am I willing to do? So I shook myself. Actually, the situation shook me too. But I want you to grab it. You grab that joy. Grab that peace. Create it. Create it. I remember many a days being in church and they said, if it wasn't there, God would find a way to create it. But sometimes God gives us those abilities to create some things inside of us. You can create it. The desire used to have to be a writer. You want to be a writer. You want to be a screen developer. You want to do these different things. Create it. Oh, there's no space for you. There's no table for you. You go create it. You know what you start doing? You start making your projects. You start copywriting them, putting them online. You start putting them out there. Put yourself out there. You do whatever it is that you have to do. But whatever it is, you got to learn to create it. Create it. Create it. Create it. Create it. Create it. I'm keep saying that. Create it. It's not there. You don't see a way. Create it. Oh, I don't have enough funding. Girl, man, whoever's listening to this podcast, I started a blog with a flip phone. Actually, no, it wasn't even a flip phone. It was a what was it? A BlackBerry. I had a BlackBerry. One of the little slide up BlackBerries. I had one of them. I didn't even have a laptop. I didn't get a laptop until the last 5 years. And this has been 10 years that I've been blogging this November. I had a BlackBerry. That's how I blogged every single time. I've recently gone back and upgraded those blogs. And some of them are still doing. So if you come against a blog that looks kind of raggedy, I'm still fixing the first ones, going right back and catching them. So it could go with the SEO, with my SEO. Those who know. But I learned that I could create it. And you got to learn that you can create it. Who has your joy? Who has it? Whoever has it, they're most likely not doing right by it, because if you're not the one that's driving force, they're going to drive the bus. And when they drive the bus, they're not going to take the route you want to take. They're going to take you all around the route. And when they're done with you, they're going to throw you out of the thing like an unwanted passenger. Who has your joy? Think about that this week. Write about that this week in your journal. What's your prompt? How can I restore my joy? What are the things that used to make me fill up with happiness, make me smile, make a good tear? All tears ain't bad. Like, make that good cleansing tear come to my eye, and I would get up and I would be okay. Where's my joy? Who has it? How can I create it? What can I do to create this life that I want? And even if I don't do well with it, even if I have to fall and figure this out, what can I do to create it? What am I willing to do to create it? Who has your joy? Ask yourself that. Think on these things this week. Write it down. Fall is coming. New season. Going into a new season. A little season where things begin to get a little colder. Things begin to get a little crazy. You can still create joy in those times. As you get into the winter, we start talking about seasonal depression, because we're going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there holding your hand, because that's what I'm doing. How can I create more joy? Who has my joy? Where is it at? Let me go get it back. You ever heard a song back in the day for the real church kids? I'm going into the enemy's camp to take what he stole from me. Sometimes you got to go into the enemy's camp, and sometimes the enemy be sleeping right next to you in your own bed. And sometimes you just got to get up and say, enough is enough. Whatever it is, I'm not telling you to do what you need to do. I'm just telling you need to do what you need to do. And I'm telling you that you better find a way to create it and go grab it and take it back. Grab it this week, today. Start the process right now. Grab your joy. Take it back. Thank you for listening to Conversations with Toy. I am super excited. Fall is here this Sunday. If you follow me on social media, and I'm encouraging you to do so, you can follow me as Toitimeblog. That is Toitimeblog on all social media platforms. It is one and the same. Follow me. I am going to be showing you some self-care for the fall. I'm going to be showing you some things you can do whether you're in Philly or not. Giving you a couple of little ideas. I know it gets a little colder. We want to stay in and get a little bit of comfort food. I'm going to show you some recipes that I like, things that I do, like crock potting, smoothies, milkshakes, all the things. And they're going to be vegan approved. You already should know that. So without any further ado, thank you for listening to Conversation with Toy. Go grab that joy. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you as always for joining me, and I know that even in the deepest or joyful conversations that there's something we can learn and apply. Until next time, I hope that you are doing better. If not, we will be back to talk some more and handle it. Peace to you and yours. Stay grounded.